Hello, and welcome to this pre-recorded episode of Beast Fables, a role-playing game show that follows the lives of tiny beasts in a massive world. I'm Brian, and I'll be your narrator for today's game. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm the founder of Dungeons on a Dime. I'm always looking to promote new folks in the creative industries, as well as, in other places, such as this cool show. I am joined today only, unfortunately, by Atlanta. Not unfortunately that it's Atlanta, unfortunately because Ver couldn't make it today, which is a sadness.
I feel so well wanted.
We love you! It's finally back from a long break when we were focusing on Greer. We have Atlanta with us today. Atlanta, could you please say hello and save me from my bumbling?
Hello, I'm Atlanta. I use she, her pronouns, and it is really very lovely to be back in Beast Fables after what has been quite a long hiatus for me just due to personal life reasons, but there we are. It's good to be back. I've missed Pipistrelle. I loved the interlude though, and I think you and Ver did a fantastic job.
There was some really tense stuff that is really all simmering in the background of this main story. It's going to be really fun.
It's going to be really, really good, and it was a joy to listen to. I loved Greer as a character. And I am looking forward to seeing how that little mini adventure is probably going to influence further adventures with Pip and Balthazar. So,
just had a really awful thought. Wouldn't it be awful if Greer just shows up and kills Pipistrelle and Balthazar?
Oh God!
That'd be awful.
That'd be awful. She's terrifying, and she would absolutely kill us.
Oh dear. Yeah. So, in today's pre-recorded episode, we're rejoining Pipistrelle, the Moon Messenger, who was waiting with the suspicious squirrel, Chipper, and with a very crashed metal beetle, a mechanical, what did Ver call it? A CAR.
A CAR, which was one of the best jokes that they've ever made.
it's an acronym. Or an acronym. An acronym? I don't know. It was funny. Go rewatch that episode, guys.
Go refresh your memories.
Yeah. Pipistrelle has been separated from her companion Balthazar, the knightly toad, who is played by Ver. But because they're separated, Ver is not part of this session today. So unfortunately, it is only Atlanta with us today. We are playing with the Adventures on a Dime system, a role-playing game designed to tell exciting stories with simple rules. You can download these rules for free from doed.co.uk and use the fully automated character sheet and free native rules on our sponsor, Roll20. Roll20 is an easy-to-use virtual tabletop platform, and it's basically the Zoom of board games. You can play online for free, roll dice, keep track of campaigns, and even get digital adventures, artwork, games, and everything else on their cool marketplace. They're our sponsors. We love them. I'm drawing a big smiley face to show how much I love them.
We do love them. They're great. And thank you, Roll20, for sponsoring us continually. It's wonderful.
And you can see over here, you've got little, you can roll dice, you can be characters, it tells you what the rules are, and there is a full free module on the marketplace where you can just get everything native. You get a playmat. I showed it off on Interlude Part 3. I'll probably show it off again in the future. But I am scared that if I leave this game and then rejoin it, that things will break. Because honestly, it's one of those days, so I'm not going to do it. But another day when I'm feeling braver. Before we start recording, the audio issues had me pulling my hair out. Anyway, we descend into the story of Beast Fables. So I'm going to scroll down to the little map below so that our lovely audience can see the bristly woods in all its glory and where Pipistrelle and Balthazar have been exploring. Atlanta, could you please remind us what happened briefly? Just the last few sessions of Balthazar and Pipistrelle's adventure.
I most certainly can. So in the last few sessions of Pip and Balthazar's adventure, we finally made it to Willowmoot after a long trip through lots of grass, and we came into sort of a meeting house. We met a somewhat friendly hedgehog innkeeper who told us that the strange noise that we had been hearing when we were walking through the long grass was probably some sort of odd machine that belonged to a rat or a troop of rats who are currently staying in Willowmoot. One of them called Grimble and I am completely blanking on the other rat's name because I'm terrible. But there we go. So there were a couple of rats who had had this strange thing that we had heard, and we were going to go and have a look at it. But we were also given the option to take some belongings that had been left behind from a badger who'd sadly died in the fire at Willowmoot, who came from Odoak. And we decided, for the time being, to explore this strange noise out in the fields. So Pip and Balthy went back to the sort of crossroads that they'd come to before, and they happened across a troop, apparently, of a squirrel and 3 birds. The squirrel's name was Chipper, and the birds also had names that I can't remember.
The birds' names were Merry Sweet, Meadow Song, and Crier. They were all Coltits.
Thank you. I remember them being Coltits. I'm just terrible with names. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Coltits are roughly the size of a mouse. They're tiny little songbirds.
And they're very sweet, and I do like them very much. So we came across this troop, and we also found the source of the strange noise that we've been hearing. We found a partially wrecked mechanical beetle-looking machine, which Balthazar quickly named a car, which I'm sure is an acronym for something that I also can't remember, but it was incredibly funny. Go watch that episode. It was great. So we find this crashed beetle, we find this troop, and Chipper, the squirrel, tells us a tale of woe that the rat who had been steering this machine had gone missing, had gone walking away looking for something, and had just disappeared. And that they were desperately, they had a story of kidnap and being taken away from somewhere that they wanted to be, that kind of thing. Pipistrelle was not convinced by this, but suggested to Balthazar and to the troop that Balthazar take the birds back to Willowmoot, and that she would stay with Chipper with the crashed beetle and wait for the rat to come back, because that would be the sensible thing to do. So Balthazar set off on his merry way with these birds. They had a lovely sing-song in the sun, because Balthazar is a fantastic toad singer, as we know. But they tried to give him the slip as they were approaching Willowmoot, but he managed to catch one of them, and we are left knowing that Pip is with someone who is remarkably untrustworthy, as I had suspected. And then we had a very, very long interlude with Greer, so we don't know what happened to Pip. And I believe we are picking up after Balthazar has left with the birds.
Yes. So the clock has rewound. Oh God, I can't even say anything today. It's gone back. It's gone back 5 hours. It's daylight savings. It is now, again, I think you found Chipper and the troop, who were a performing troop, not like a soldier troop.
Yeah.
to specify.
Sorry, I should have mentioned they were performing. They were like singers, I think. They were a performing group of singers or theatre people. And they, which is, I think, one of the things that made Pipistrelle very suspicious in the initial was that Chipper was, Chipper is an actor, and the other rat who this beetle belongs to has just mysteriously gone missing, and the captors of this troop and this rat seem to be absolutely nowhere in sight. So, big old doubts there from Pip.
Yes. So it is now mid-afternoon. Balthazar and the Coltits have hopped off along the road, or back towards the road, maybe half an hour ago. And you have been rather awkwardly sitting either on or near or in this strange mechanical beetle. It's very large, and large enough to fit maybe the whole troop inside, and maybe another couple animals or beasts. It would be quite a tight squeeze. Inside there are several kind of raised seating areas further back for maybe creatures to sit or for things to be placed. And then there is a coal-fed furnace lower and towards the front, with kind of sooty dust all around it, and 100 different toggles and gears and strange levers that have very unknown function. Pipistrelle, you have never seen so many strange devices concentrated in one space. The whole beetle smells of oil, of that sort of polished oil, not like petrol, but like that sort of oiled metal. And aside from the very crunched front horn of this it kind of resembles a stag beetle almost. Aside from the crunched horn, it seems mostly intact. And it is mostly warm from the sun and cold underneath, so it hasn't been turned on somehow for a while. It is yeah. That's sort of the scenario. So Chipper has been pleasant. She has smiled whenever you've looked over at her, but otherwise seems to be mostly interested in organising and reorganising her pack, taking everything out, making sure everything's there, and putting it all back in. She has maybe some food, a metal hook, a length of rope. She has a flute, and other knickknacks. So yeah, that's kind of what's been happening. What is Pipistrelle doing?
I imagine Pip has, after Balthazar left, after maybe casting a slightly wary eye over Chipper, I imagine she probably just kind of plonked herself on the beetle, sort of half facing the direction that Balthazar went in, and has been, I suppose, enjoying a little bit of sun, a little break from travel. But I think if Chipper is like reorganizing her bag every now and then, I think Pip would probably, when she hears it, the bag being moved around and stuff, she will probably kind of cast a slightly nosy little eye over, like, what does this squirrel have in her bag? Just to see if there's anything vaguely suspicious, but just in case.
Okay, so I'd say, well, I'm going to ask you, how are you going about that? Describe the process of you trying to sneak a look at her stuff.
So if Pip is sitting on this beetle, I imagine that Chipper will be kind of off to one side, kind of in Pip's peripheral vision, and that occasionally, if Pip kind of slightly turns her head one direction, she'll be able to have a slightly better look out of one eye. Just, she would be trying to be quite subtle about it, like turning her head maybe to scratch her chin, or, sort of pull at one of her ears, or, like fix her little vest, or make sure that her flight suit's on properly. She just kind of making it look like she's not doing anything, that she's just kind of, oh, I'll just sit, I'll just wait, I'm not doing anything. That kind of vibe.
Yeah. Okay. So that would definitely be a cunning check to see how well you pull that off.
Oh, it's been so long since I've had a roll. I swear to God, if I roll badly,
if you want to try and tag any of your skills to give yourself advantage, you can definitely do that. I'm just drawing, by the way, in the top right corner here, the actual beetle itself, the strange metal car.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool.
So I know that I previously described it as being like the legs being attached to wheels on tracks, but actually, thinking about how a rat would design a car if a rat has never seen a car before, I think it's much more interesting if the beetle is instead rolling on two massive balls.
Yes, I'm so into that. That's really cool.
So there's sort of like this large stone that it's just smashed into in the field. And so like the front of it is crunched, where it would have been more like a stag beetle. And there are two metal balls. One has rolled a fair distance away and is partially hidden by grass. And the other is kind of nearby, and it's kind of like fallen off, but it's got these sort of legs that are very long and mechanical.
It's kind of like, it has got sort of like a cabin feature that you could sit in with other beasts. That's really neat.
Yeah. So as opposed to having doors, it's got sort of open. It doesn't have windows, just open panes or open holes that you can look out of, and then the ceiling comes off. It actually detaches, and that's how you get in and out.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. I like that a lot. May I clarify something? So, because I have in my character sheet, I'm looking at my, my jobs and stuff. Am I allowed to tag things from my desired job, or do I have to wait until I filled out that desired job before I can use those skills?
You will have to fill out the desired job before you can tag it. So you'll have to get those 3 skills and then make a trait and a flaw to go with them, give it a name, a job, and then add that to your character sheet.
Okay, because I was hoping I might be able to use my unassuming presence, but I can't use it yet. Anyway, well, in that case, then I suppose just I don't know if I can use my inquisitive nature again, just because this is something that Pip has probably done and will continue to do for a long time. She is always kind of sticking her nose into other people's business when she knows that she shouldn't.
I'll let you have advantage. But if it goes wrong, it's going to go hilariously wrong.
Oh, God! Please, no hijinks. Oh, yes.
Ooh, a success and a better success. You got an 8 and a 5. So with a success, you do as well as you can. The narrator describes how successful you are. So I'm going to say that you've plunked yourself on top of the beetle, and you have... you've made it look like you're sleeping. Right? Because you're a bat, you're not diurnal, you're nocturnal. So you've made it look like you're trying to sleep and have a nap, but instead you are very much spying on this squirrel, Chipper.
100% something that Pip would do, pretend to be asleep and try and fool all the diurnal animals into thinking she's sleeping.
So I'm going to throw the ball in your court. What is something suspicious that you find Chipper packing away? Or being very cautious in handling?
Well, for example, when you were listing off some of the things that she had in her bag earlier, you mentioned something about a metal hook. Why does a squirrel need a metal hook, dear Game Master? That seems oddly specific, unless it's just a prop for a play or a show, but I don't think so.
Well, you see some things in the bag that you're like, oh, well, I guess maybe the hook is for raising it, like a sandbag contraption, like a curtain. But the more you look, the more you kind of spy on the stuff, you're more like, that hook is bearing a lot of weight. Like, that's a big hook. I don't think that's for lights, for a chandelier. And that rope, that's a lot of rope. That's not just like, 10 feet, throw it over a branch sort of rope. That's a lot of rope. And it kind of forms the base of the bag, actually. It looks like there's just sort of like a you know how you get those backpacks that have a card base to them, so it kind of keeps the space open? Actually, the rope is hidden by winding that as the base instead. So there is a lot of rope and a lot of length to this hook. There's also a pouch of tools, but you didn't get to have a sneaky look at it.
But I noticed that there was at least a pouch of tools.
You did see that there was a glint of metal in a long pouch made out of bark. I was going to say leather because that's for beasts. That's intense.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, do you think beasts would make pouches out of like fish scales?
I imagine because you can I think with any kind of creature, if beasts had figured out how to skin fish effectively, dry and then cure that skin, make it hard and durable, yeah, I think it's perfectly feasible to say that that you could use fish scales, but also the rinds of certain fruit, for example. Like again with sort of the whole sort of what's the process that you call it, like tanning of leather. You dry it all out, you make it really hard and durable and stuff. I imagine that like with certain fruit, like pear skin, for example, pear skin's really thick. So if you had beasts that had like pear farms, you could say you had like beast friendly leather in a way.
We'll say for now that it's made out of like thick waxed paper. Just because I want to figure out more of that world building. But we'll come back to durable materials that are for holding tools at a later date. You see that there is a pouch of tools, some kind of sewn pouch.
So a sewn. Okay, I could understand if Chipper was like the leader of this troop, and if they were not like if they didn't have, say, a sort of representative who, maybe does all the staging and stuff. Yeah, but like that seems weirdly odd and very specific for a squirrel out on the road with the troop with them to be carrying like hook, a bag of tools, and a big rope that's hidden in the bag, kind of. Or is it like is sort of not prepossessing? Like, it's not just like it was a rope in a bag; it was a rope disguised as the bottom of a bag. That seems really specifically suspicious to me.
Yeah.
I do not trust this squirrel.
So, what does Pipistrelle do with this information?
Oh gosh, I think... Is Chipper still packing the bag currently as I'm kind of pretending to sleep?
We'll say that Chipper is finishing up packing the bag.
Okay. I think Pip is going to give it just a minute, wait for Chipper to like finish packing the bag, kind of put the bag down, maybe stretch, walk around a little bit. And then she's going to kind of like fake yawn and stretch and be like, that was I needed that. Just like like
there's a slight pause, and then Chipper says, "Oh yes, of course. Oh, what a wonderful nap that must have been."
Pip will smile, big toothy smile, and with her little bat teeth, and it's like, I really needed that. It's been I've been traveling so much during the day, and my sleep schedule is just is all wrong at the moment. It's very unusual for me to be up this late. I mean, this early. You know what I mean.
She gives a very fake laugh.
No, she doesn't like me. I think Pip isn't gonna like press Chipper. But I think she would sort of try and keep the conversation going, maybe slightly out of dangerous territory, and would ask, so where was it that you and your troop were heading? I don't recall seeing any staging or theatre presences in Willowmoot. What happened before you got captured by these beasts, these other beasts?
Now, out of character, I can't remember because I don't think I noted it down.
Yeah.
I think they were going to Willowmoot to perform, and they had come from Bullock Bay.
Is that where they were? Okay. I thought they were. Okay. Because I vaguely remember that they had either just been to Willowmoot or they were going to Willowmoot, and like they got ambushed. And they said, I'm pretty sure Chipper said it was like big beasts, like either.
Yeah. So they said they'd been ambushed by otters.
Otters. That
in
was
this strange car. They just bundled them in.
Yeah.
And took them on this strange joyride, and then when they crashed the car, just abandoned it and ran for a nearby river.
So
I can't remember. Brian, can't remember if they went to Willowmoot or came from Willowmoot. So I'm going to say that they were going to Willowmoot, and
okay. Well then
retcon the story.
Okay. Well then
or maybe it's even funnier if it's if I'm getting it wrong and Chipper's getting it wrong as well. Maybe that's even better.
Who knows? Okay, so I rephrase in, for the audience. Rephrasing that question like, if where have you come from then if you're heading to Willowmoot, but also kind of that point still stands of like, if you are heading to Willowmoot, like I've just been there. There is no kind of, doesn't seem like a particularly quote unquote cultured place.
And to this, Chipper says, "Oh well, I mean, any place in the world can be a stage. We were planning to put on a show wherever we could find, to maybe get some food, make our way, but ultimately we're moving on for greener pastures. Yes.
Oh. What greener pastures would those be? She's trying to keep her tone very light and friendly.
She thinks and says, well, maybe Odoak, or maybe Sunkeep to the south, or further on. Everything seems... It's a little tense in the Bristly Woods right now after the boars. Maybe we might travel for a bit. Find other places that are a bit more prosperous.
I suppose that seems perfectly fair. Again, I think sort of more just kind of genuinely out of a little bit of vain curiosity now. It's like, so what is it that your troop actually do?
So what are you trying to do? Are you trying to get information out of?
I think Pip is just kind of she is very curious by nature. She's not yes, she's a messenger. Yes, she's lived in Odoak, but she's not met a traveling troupe before. And also because she doesn't trust Chipper, and I think she's just trying to see if there are any little holes, I guess, in her story. So
it's half curiosity, but you're also trying to catch her out in a lie if possible.
A little bit. It's more just along the lines of you say you're a traveling troupe and you've been ambushed by someone. Sure, fair enough. But why would you want to go to a backwater town that has just burnt down? And you're sure you're traveling and trying to make people feel better after the Boer War, but nobody has anything that they could really give you right now. So what is your end goal here, really?
And I am remembering they hadn't been to Willowmoot because that was the excuse the birds gave to not go in, because they didn't want to come in as half a troop.
That's it. Yes, you're right. Okay.
Yeah. To your question of I actually forgot what your question was.
It was where would so you're asking where would these greener pastures be? What does your troop actually do?
What does your troop actually do? Chipper says, I play the flute, and then obviously the cultists are quite adept at singing, and we bring a bit of merriment to wherever we go. And she sort of shrugs a little at you and smiles sweetly.
Well, I see no real... this seems like a rather... a nice thing to do these days, particularly in light of the sadness and the tragedy of the Boer War. But are you not worried that this may be falling on deaf ears? Perhaps can you really expect people to be able to give you much when so few have so little?
Well,
or so many have. You know what I mean?
She kind of looks at you a little, kind of cocks her head a little bit and goes, well, I mean, everyone appreciates a song, and I haven't passed the paths of any other players, so I'm sure we'll be fine.
I suppose that's fair. I certainly haven't seen any other troops of traveling singers and musicians on my travels. I certainly didn't see any while I was delivering messages, that's for certain.
You said you used to deliver messages. Oh, that's a wonderful hobby. Please tell me more about it.
How much can I tell her without giving too much away? I think Pip kind of takes just half a second and she smiles again, but her ear twitches slightly. I think she would probably... What would she say? What would she tell this squirrel? Because I don't want to seem like I'm withholding information from her, but I also don't want to be I don't want to just tell her exactly what I was doing during the war and things like that. I don't think Chipper knows that I'm from Odoak, so I probably won't say that. I think
she does.
No, I think I might just say kind of in a very nondescript way, I joined the Messengers Guild very recently, and it's pretty obvious because she's about. It's yes, I'm a moon messenger, and during the war I did carry certain messages between some of the uh, you know, some of the areas most affected by the Boer War between, not like generals or anything, but more just like missives of his casualties and his stuff that we've lost, his stuff that we've gained, that kind of thing. Not that she would know much about it, but just like between, like, you know, the more that you can gather from the people that you're delivering stuff to, I guess. So kind of in a kind of slightly dodging the question kind of ways, like, yeah, this is what I do, kind of.
Oh, that sounds so fascinating. And where are some of your favourite places to have travelled to?
Oh, you know, just here and there. You get such a funny view of the world when you spend most of your life flying above it. You know, there are certainly areas that I've seen that look so beautiful, but I would never know the name of them just having flown overhead, you know.
Oh, but I'm sure you could describe them.
Oh, she's really fishing for information now.
I'd say make a willpower check. You're trying to emote and steer a conversation.
Okay, no, I can't really tag anything, so willpower. Oh, yes!
That is a critical success. I'm going to say that you know that she is trying to keep the conversation away from her. She keeps asking questions. I'm going to say that this is we're going back and forth in the conversation, assuming that like you guys are talking, and you're able to deflect a lot of the questions and not explain exactly who or what you were doing during the war. Equally, you're just kind of fencing, but you're both just making really polite conversation.
Yeah, so I'm not really getting anything from her.
Yeah. She keeps trying to steer it. Anytime you ask anything about her or the troop, she very expertly turns it back and says, oh, you know, we were thinking of going, say, to Odok, and oh, I noticed you've got an oak leaf on your jacket. How interesting. Where did you get that? Such fine work done. And oh, I love your flight suit, and that bag is very well made, and very complimentary, very positive, and very much not talking about her.
Okay. I feel it would be unwise then for Pip to kind of press anymore, because she's clearly not stupid. She knows that I'm also trying to fish for information. But equally, I also know that she is also trying to fish for information. So, oh gosh, how do we steer this out of dangerous territory? I think Pip would maybe take like a break in the conversation, and maybe suggest like, oh, I'm just gonna go into the grass for a minute. Might see if I can find maybe some aphids. Maybe there's some brambles growing. Who knows? Just kind of to take a little break from Chipper and to not feel like, you know, she's really pushing her for information, I guess.
And I'd say with your critical success, you are able to read that there's a slight change in her expression. And she says, oh, that's a wonderful idea. But you get the feeling that she's not just saying that, she actually is very happy that you're leaving. Like, she's a little surprised, and then it's like, yeah, go, please, honestly, oh, that'd be lovely, sort of energy, you know?
Okay, how far can I go into the grass while kind of keeping, like, where I can kind of pretend like I've walked away, and then maybe kind of peek through the grass and see what she does while I'm not there?
I think that would be a cunning roll. To see how well you are at sneaking through the grass, staying silent and not being seen.
What can I don't think I can tag anything. I mean, I suppose I could. No, I can't. Okay, is it just a straight roll then, or is it a roll with disadvantage?
Be a straight roll. Unless you tag something.
Oh, yes.
Ooh, that's an 8. So you go about your business, you go around and I'd say, because you're not tagging a skill, it's more like you're humming to yourself in the grass, like, oh, you know, looking for aphids, la 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 la, and you're rustling about conspicuously enough that you make it seem like you have moved away. Yeah. And then you stay very, very still. And you can't watch, but you can listen.
Yay.
So you're maybe 20, 30 paces away in the grass, and you're listening with your keen ears, and because bats have good hearing, and you can't see what Chipper is doing, but you can hear that there is it seems she's doing something with the beetle, but you don't really understand what. You hear occasionally metal moving on dirt, and kind of soil being moved and kind of digging. Occasionally you hear like of like the metal scraping on rock. You're not sure what's going on.
Huh. But she's definitely doing something with the beetle.
Yeah.
Is there a point where she kind of stops doing stuff, or is she just kind of continually like tinkering with it?
Depends how long you want to stay and listen for.
I think she'd probably stay for like a few minutes. Just stay and listen and see if she can maybe. I mean, I'm not going to be able to guess exactly what she's doing, but maybe figure out what she might actually be using to tinker with the beetle. Like, is it tools from this tool belt? Is she just using stuff from the ground? Like, is she just pushing it or moving things on it? Like, am I able to discern that through just listening? Or do I have to be able to see what she's doing?
I think you'd have to be able to see to know what she's doing. But you can hear that she's doing something with the machine, that there's clunking of varying sounds, and that it pauses. I'm going to say to really, because you're curious, you would have to wait half an hour, because she clunks a bit for maybe a minute, and then there's a pause.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe a couple minutes later there's more clunking of a different sound, and then there's a pause. And then clunking of the same sound again, but slightly different, and then a pause.
Okay.
And then a grinding sound, and then a pause.
Okay, well then, yeah, I think Pip will probably just, if there's continuous noise, she will probably stay and listen to it and try and, I don't know, piece together whatever she can, I guess, from the noises. But she has no expertise in mechanics, so I doubt that she'll be able to really understand anything that is happening.
Yeah, this is the first time I think you've seen a big machine like this, especially one made entirely of metal. There are a few like wooden contraptions, and you've seen things like wheelchairs and mobility aids before, but you've never seen, as Ver described it, a CAR.
CAR, yeah. Well, I guess after that half hour then of just kind of listening, I probably should have mentioned that Pip did, like, she would have taken her bag with her, so she's just gonna pretend like that, she's come back, she'll throw her bag down and be like, oh, pretend to grumble like, oh, I couldn't find any aphids, no brambles, that kind of thing.
You're trying to deceive her, so I'm gonna ask you to make a cunning roll for me. And this is just in general. This is about like how you come back, how she sees you. It's going to determine the next part of what's going on here.
Oh God! Okay, this is an important role.
I mean, every role's important, but
I know
we'll see.
This one weighted. Oh God! Please continue to roll well. Oh, thank God.
Success.
Oh, thank God.
So you gently start to rustle the grass around you as if you're approaching from afar, and you notice that she's in the middle of maybe clanging something, and then it immediately stops. And then you kind of make it sound louder, and you get closer. You tuck some bits of grass in your clothing as if you've walked a really long distance. And you throw your bag down and go, oh, there's no aphids. Can't find any brambles. And you don't, like, Chipper looks at you and goes, oh, that's unfortunate. And then she looks up at the sky, which is a clear blue, and you see that the sun is moving more towards 3-4 o'clock. She goes, did you see any sign of a rat, perhaps, of this Lutzen?
Oh, his name was Lutzen. No, well, yeah, I guess. No, I have to be honest. I think Pip would sort of shake her head and say, no, I didn't see anybody.
Oh, that's a real shame. I think he would have been back by now. Do you think maybe you could go look for him? Or maybe we should, what area did you go to explore? Maybe we can explore other places and see if we can find him. Cover more ground. Because clearly this strange contraption isn't going anywhere, whether we're here or not. I'm worried about his safety.
Well, in that case, Chipper, why don't you go and have a look around? Because yes, you're right. It doesn't seem like this machine is going anywhere. But I should really wait for Balthazar to get back, because we are also looking for this rat. But I feel it would be more pertinent for me to wait until my companion is with me before I wander off again. Just in case something happens to me.
And she kind of there's a slight twitch of irritation, and then she says, "Oh, well, of course, and you've just been out looking for food. You must be so tired. I'll go look to see if I can find Lutzen, and I'll try to be back, in an hour." And she kind of picks up her bag and gives you a little cheery wave, and then kind of strides off into the long grass around you.
Which direction has she gone?
Let's say that she's gone east towards the forest.
Okay. Because that's the direction that she said that Lutzen was carried off. Or not carried off, but that he went earlier. He went towards the woods. Is anything bad going to happen if I leave the beetle on its own?
You don't know. Oh, are you using your... Well, you have a question.
I do have a question, and I don't know what else to really use it for right now. If I leave the beetle, am I gonna come back and find it destroyed or missing?
If you left the beetle, it wouldn't get any worse than it is right now. The beetle isn't, the beetle isn't in any danger. Is how I would answer that question.
Maybe that was the wrong question to have asked.
Well, there is no wrong question. But if you left the beetle, no harm would come to it necessarily.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I think if Pip clocked that Chipper was not happy to have been told to leave the beetle, I think before I do anything else, can I go and have a look at it and maybe see if something has changed since I was away looking for aphids, quote unquote?
Yeah. So describe what you're looking around this beetle. Describe the kind of way you're examining it.
I think probably what Pip would be doing is, at first she would just kind of generally go and appraise it, walk around it, running her little hands over it, sort of just checking, just feeling it, looking at it. But then I think she would, where one of the balls has gone, I think she would probably have a look underneath it and see, when look at the underside of a car, looking at all the pipes and stuff, all the bits. I think she'd have a closer look at that. She'd probably take a little, she'd probably hop into the interior and have a look around, see if there's cupboards or pockets where things might have been hidden, or if there is any trace the animals might have sat in it, having a look at where it would have been driven. How does it work? I think she would be quite sort of, now that Chipper isn't here, she's not going to be banging and crashing around and stuff, but I think she's definitely going to be looking at this thing sort of more acutely than she had been before when she was sitting on it.
Okay, that sounds very methodical, so I'm going to say that's a vigor roll, and because you're inquisitive, I'm going to give you an advantage.
Yay! Oh, good, because actually my vigor is still only a d6 currently. Yay!
So that's a 5 and a 6. So both of those are a success. You do as well as you can. The narrative describes how successful you are. I'm going to say, now that you've got the time, you take your walk around and you notice immediately, on the other side of the beetles, you hadn't seen it when you first came into the camp, but you notice immediately that there are new grooves in the dirt that weren't there before, near the legs.
Ooh, really?
And you investigate them and they're fresh, the dirt has been pulled up, you can still see that some of the legs have like dirt kicked up on the other side, where they've scraped the ground. You investigate inside the carriage of the beetle. You pop the hood, so to speak. You lift up the kind of carapace with your good arm and poke your head inside, and you notice that because I'm going to say you're inquisitive and you had a success, that you notice that even though that there are many of them, the gears and the levers, some of them seem to be in different positions. And you look about inside properly now, and you notice that there is a small brown downy feather kind of caught between two bits of like bench on the inside that might have been from one of the cultists. You close the hood and you look underneath, because it's kind of partially lifted off of the ground by these large mechanical beetle legs. You look underneath and don't, because you hadn't looked underneath before, you don't necessarily notice anything different, but you do see that there are strange like gears and pulleys that connect the legs, made from this kind of braided metal cable, and it all seems very intricate. You also notice that some legs seem to be assembled differently to other legs. Like the front foreleg seems to be a much more basic contraption. It's just a pulley, whereas the back left leg has gears in it, and it's very confusing. It seems to have been made very sporadically, as a way of phrasing it. I'd say that's what your investigation uncovers.
Okay. In that case, so the dirt that it was disturbed, like around the beetle, is there any indication of what may have been used to disturb it? Like hands, a tool, a rock?
You think the leg did it? Like the leg kicked out?
The leg did it?
Yes.
Ooh.
Like the groove is from the leg moving.
It's really interesting. I mean, is she trying to get this thing working again then? I mean, I imagine she must be. I just don't know why. I kind of want to follow her, but I also don't, because maybe she's doing what I was doing. Maybe she's just like walked off into the bush and is like hiding and listening and watching me. Okay, I think before I do anything else, she's a squirrel, so she'll probably be quite cunning and quite quiet, but like, can I hear anything right now? Is there anything that doesn't sound like the general breeze rustling or trees?
I would say make a cunning check.
I'm rolling really well today.
Got a success. Well, you're using your strengths, I think. I would say you don't think that she's nearby. You can't hear anything. You do hear quite far off a buzzard give out a call, but it's quite far away. And that's kind of far into the north. But you don't hear necessarily any squirrel scratchings.
Okay. Well, maybe I need to give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she has gone to look for Ludson, but I just don't know why she would when she clearly, it seems like she's trying to get this beetle working without Ludson being here. but I just don't know to what purpose. Okay, well, if I also know that the beetle is kind of going to be okay if I leave it, I might follow her, or at least follow her tracks for a little bit and see if she's gone anywhere that, maybe she really has gone to find Hudson.
Interesting. Okay, so you start out into the grass, following the trail that she's left, and it's the grass here has been pushed down because creatures moved through it. You can notice the kind of the path and the slight bending of the stalks, and it does indeed go east towards the forest. It does curve in sort of like an S formation backwards and forwards, as if she's sort of looking for a trail. How do you describe your process following her tracks?
Well, she's bigger than me, so I imagine she's probably moving at a pretty decent pace for a squirrel. But I think Pip would just be sort of relatively cautious, not like trying not to make too much noise, sort of taking pauses, looking at the footprints, the tracks left. I think, but quietly and methodically, and so if Chipper is nearby, that hopefully Pip will have at least some warning to be quiet. She'll be listening quite intently. Definitely, she'll definitely be using her ears to her advantage if she can.
Okay, I would say that would be a cunning roll. You're going slowly, you're going cautiously, you're relying on your skills to give you an advantage. Ooh, a 6. So that again is a success. You don't think anything spots you or knows that you're following this trail. You keep your ear out for this buzzard that you've seen or heard even far away, and continue moving forwards, following this trail. And it reaches, you get the feeling you're going to be walking for maybe half an hour towards the forest. It's not a short walk. So you can go all the way to the forest if you want, following this trail.
Yeah, I think I probably would.
Okay, so we're in the middle of a scene. I think we had. I can't remember if we'd had a reflection at the end of the last Balthazar and Pipistrelle episode, but you had the question thing. I'm gonna say that we're starting a new scene now.
Ooh, okay.
So I don't know if you're in the middle scene, but whatever it is, it's ended, and now we're starting a new scene. You have got 3 fortunes. You have words unspoken.
Ooh.
Didn't make a sound, and mired and alone.
Oh god, that last one's really scary.
So, which of these 3 fortunes do you think would be most interesting for your foray into the woods?
Words unspoken is very intriguing. But there's something about specifically the word mired that you've used, mired and alone, that I do find deeply, deeply intriguing in a very kind of scary way, because I don't know if that refers to Pip. I don't know if that refers to people around her. Oh, see, this is where I really miss Ver, because this is where we would like parry back and forth about which one we think would be helpful. Oh, Ver, I miss you. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go with my gut on this one. I'm gonna go with mired and alone.
Ooh, fun. I'm gonna add that for my own notes.
No, that's so fun.
Oh, don't say fun, no. Say safe, say comfortable, say gentle. Okay, so you make your way through the grass, and when you get towards the forest, the grass starts to kind of filter out. You know how grass doesn't grow around the roots of trees because the trees suck up all the nutrients. Like the grass thins, and you make it towards the canopy of the forest floor. And you kind of get into the afternoon shadow of the trees as well, because the sun sets in the west. No, you're getting towards the forest and the sun is at your back.
Yeah.
And you reach the eastern part of the forest, and the sun is kind of beaming now. 45 degrees in the sky, down into the trees. There are long shadows being cast by the trees, but they're also well lit from just the general sun doing its sun thing.
Oh yeah.
Making light. And you notice that very, very particularly, the trail stops once you reach the first tree.
Oh, did she climb the tree? Are there
You
any
look
little,
up, but you can't really see. Like, the trail just ends near one of the trees.
Oh, that's annoying. Are there any other tracks? Any other animals have been through here, or is it just her tracks? They get to this tree and they kind of end.
Well, this particular trail ends here. You don't necessarily see other animal trails nearby. You do hear the occasional cooing of pigeons, of other birds and creatures in the forest. The forest is more populated than the fields.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing nearby.
Okay. I suppose kind of as a general housekeeping question as well, how is my wing doing with its general healing? Because I did put a poultice on it the night before we left the boat. And like a bandage.
You had hurt it with your encounter with the owl, but it's had a couple days rest. You're not comfortable yet to fly.
No, okay.
Though it's good. It's comfortable to use it as like as a hand to hold things. But you don't feel like it's not even like you're. Well, I could try it. Like you test it by flapping it a little bit, and the twinges you get, it very much you don't want to fly on it yet.
Okay, no, that. I expected that much. Would it be possible for me to do a little bit of climbing with it?
You could try.
I could. Well, bats are reasonably adept climbers, but obviously Pip is still nursing this kind of slightly damaged wing. Oh god, I can't wait until she can fly again. But if the tracks end and she is a squirrel, I mean.
I'm also going to say your bag is very full. It's actually 2, 4. You are maximum carried items. So you've got a bag with nettle dust, with your poultices and bandages. You've got a sleeping bag in there as well. You've got a full map of this kind of area of the woods and a bag of trail mix and all your other tools and bits and bobs.
Okay. Is there a little at the bottom of this tree? Is there maybe like a little nook or something I could leave my bag in for a few minutes if I climb the tree and see if I can kind of maybe get a better view?
You could cover it with some pine needles and a leaf or two.
Okay. Could I do that and then, sort of take a note where I put it and then I would like to attempt to maybe climb the tree a little bit just to see if I can see either Chipper.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly Ludson, this mysterious rat who I need to meet now, and just get general lay of the land. Maybe I will see something that I wouldn't see from my ground view.
I think that'd be a vigor check for me.
Okay.
You're not employing any tools. You're trying it tentatively.
Mm-hmm. Oh god, I'm still on a D6 as well. Oh no!
I love it. It's a hijinks. A 1. Something goes terribly wrong. The narrative describes how things go awry and hijinks may follow. So, this is the real question. Do you take damage or do you lose an item?
Oh no, I have to lose another item or take damage. Oh god. What do I got?
I'll let you choose and then I'll describe what happens.
Oh, I really don't want to take any more damage because I'm still at a D6 for vigor as opposed to my D8. Oh, actually, no, hang on. No, that's wrong. Actually, no, my current is D8 because I think I had an advantage for something. Okay, you know what? I'm not. Okay, I will lose my bag of trail mix because.
No, you don't get to choose the item.
Oh, okay. Oh no. Okay.
You just lose an item or take damage, and then I'll tell you what happens next.
Okay, in that case, then I completely reverse that decision. I really don't want to lose either my nettle dust or my bandages or my poultice, so I guess I will take a damage.
Okay, you begin. You're climbing up. You're feeling pretty confident, and then to get a better vantage of the nearby forest, you start to reach out and grab onto a nearby branch to kind of go more laterally, so you can get a better view. It's at that point that you realise that the tree is quite large and big, but this little branch is an offshoot, and as you put your weight on it, you realise that actually it's just a shoot that's dried up and died.
God.
Cracks underneath. You're only got your weight on your bad wing, and then you tumble out of the tree. As you're falling, what do you do?
Oh God, I guess in the kind of, if Pip has been ever sort of knocked in the air, buffeted by wind or whatever, there is a kind of general steadying, like trying to reorient herself, like, even though her wings are like, she can't fly, even if she could just like open her wings to try and negate some of the fall damage, she doesn't like break a leg. Just like, at least sort of slightly float towards the ground as opposed to kind of plummeting and really hurting herself.
You stick out your wings, but your injured wing, it hurts, and you instinctively like draw it closed to get it to a more comfortable position, which causes you to spiral. You circle once around the tree before spiraling and just ramming headfirst into its trunk and landing beside your bag.
Oh, Pip!
You take a vigor damage.
Okay.
I'm just slapping into the tree.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So
you feel a little dizzy. That was not fun.
Oh dear, my poor girl.
But while you were kind of descending, you managed to see at least a quick scan of the forest around you, and you noticed something glinting in the underbrush a little ways away, deeper into the forest.
Ooh, that's very intriguing. Okay, I think praying to whomever might be listening that no one saw that. I think Pip would kind of try to reorient herself and like put her bag on and brush herself off and curse her bloody broken wing and how much she misses flying. I think she would go in the shiny object.
So you start to hike off towards this glint you saw in the underbrush. How are you looking for it? Describe the process of looking for this thing.
I think because it's like a shiny object, it's something glinting in the sunlight. I think she'd be looking at maybe sort of how do I describe this? I think she would be really kind of moving quickly and trying to catch it in the sunlight before the sun gets too low and we lose it from the bottom of the trees. I think she would be kind of moving in the general direction and kind of jumping up every now and then to make sure that she can still see it, but like quite direct and quite sort of with momentum,
Okay. I'd say that's a cunning, because you're trying to use the sun to find the object. So that's a cunning check.
Cool. Oh, come on.
Complication. You barely managed to pull it off, but not without consequence. The narrator describes how the situation becomes more complicated. You are looking around. The sun isn't at any point going to set soon, because it is the summer.
Oh,
unlike in Scotland right now, where it is damp and humid and
supposedly
whatever happens in September. It is currently still July in the forest. But you're looking. You find the glint. It is a small metal bolt. And you are turning it over. It's very small. It fits in your hand. It's very, very fine. So I wouldn't describe it as, say, like a human nut and bolt. Like, this is a very small, thin piece with a little bit of handmade rifling on it. You've never seen a bolt before. Not a bolt, a nut.
Yeah.
Like this. You're just kind of turning it over your hands and it's kind of glinting. And in the distance, you hear the cawing of a crow.
Oh God!
And your hackles immediately go up, and you're like, uh-oh. This isn't good.
Mm-hmm.
Especially after your last encounter with a crow.
Yes! I don't know if I'll be able to talk my way out of this one.
And you notice ahead, again, with that sort of slowly setting sun, another glint, maybe 200 or 300 paces off.
Is that in the direction of the noise that the crow was making?
Perpendicular. The crow seems to be coming from the south, and this glinting trail seems to lead west.
Okay. Oh, okay. I think I want to see where this goes, because I don't know who else would have nuts and bolts aside from the person who built the machine. But I also don't want to. I really don't want to run afoul of another crow. Joke, absolutely pun intended. I'll be here.
That was good.
Okay, I think maybe while keeping an ear out for the crow, I think Pip is going to follow the glint of these nuts and bolts and things and see where it goes.
Okay, you are kind of describe how you're following them, and describe what that looks like.
I think as the as the sun is coming through the trees and is picking the light out on these sort of shiny bits of metal, you probably see Pip kind of as best she can with her injured wing, kind of scrabbling over tree roots, pushing grass aside, plants and things out of her way, occasionally pausing every now and then, ears going up, looking around, listening intently for the crow, making sure it's not getting too close, that she's not making too much noise, but ultimately eyes snapping back towards the glinting metal on the ground, and very, very intrigued by this, and the more she finds, the more she'll probably kind of hold them in her good arm, and
you're picking them up as well. Okay, this sounds a very methodical approach. I'm going to ask you to make a vigor check for me.
A vigor check.
And you can tag skills, remember, if you have any that you think are relevant.
Okay. Can I tag my staying alert ability, because I'm doing a sort of methodical chore right now, but I'm also very much keeping ears are very much up and alert of my surroundings.
Yeah, I'd let you tag your vigor, your staying alert for that.
Hooray! Oh.
Ooh.
So
you got a critical success with a 6. Oh, you didn't reduce your vigor.
Oh no, I did.
Damage.
I did, because it was a D8 for a while. It was currently a D8, but do I need to lower it to a D4?
Well, if your current size was D8, then it would be a D6 now.
Yeah, because it was when I opened it, it was still a D8, and I think it was because I had a. You allowed me that in one of the previous sessions because of reasons.
Oh yeah, no, you'd healed up. It says because you were rolling a D8 with your vigor here. Cool. Yes, it's D6, and you got a critical success, which is really cool. So you immediately are you hear the crow, and you're like, nope, 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 nope. And you're you're skittering along. You're going further and deeper into this part of the bramble woods here, going more and more west, following this trail, and it goes forward, and then it seems to loop back on itself, and then it goes deeper into the forest, and then it randomly goes just straight 90-degree angle right to the south, and then it goes back west again. It's very chaotic.
Okay.
And you are going as fast as you can, and trying to keep an ear out for this crow, which you can't necessarily hear at the moment, until you come to at the edge of an embankment that goes down, and you notice here that there is the sort of a bit of a it looks like a river used to run through here, but instead now it's just a stream, or not even just a stream. It seems to have dried to sticky, thick mud, and ahead of you you see a rather unfortunate-looking rat who is up to their waist in mud.
Oh God!
Facing away from you across the other side of we'll call it like stream river. Well, you don't know how they look because they're not looking at you.
Oh
But
God,
I think this is a good opportunity to introduce our guest for the show, Fraser, who will be playing with us today.
Hello, hello.
Is Fraser. Fraser, could you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Fraser. I will be playing Lutzen Ten Whiskers. I go by he, him pronouns. And I am an illustrator and such. Also, I'm very excited. I've been sitting here very quietly listening to all this going on, and I'm so excited.
So, Lutzen Ten Whiskers, you are up to your waist in mud. You have been following a trail through the woods looking for the perfect set of sticks to help prop up the beetle you've been working on so that you can then fix it and get it running again. And then you got distracted by some flowers that you thought could be really good for making an oil, but then they weren't really the flowers you were looking for. And then, there was a vine over here, or some grass that could have been braided into a rope to fix one of the legs, which would be really good. And then somehow you just ended up in this mud.
Oh, fiddlesticks.
Oh my God. I would like to.
Every time you move, you get deeper into the mud.
Oh God.
Okay. I think Lutzen, he knows he's in trouble, but he's just looking around him just now, spotting what else he can go and get when he's free of the mud, and just hoping that some divine intervention will free him.
Divine intervention.
I think he's just kind of wriggling a little bit and trying not to. Yeah, he's just wriggling. He's kind of using his tail a little bit to kind of paddle up a wee bit.
Cool. I have destroyed the drawings of Balthazar and Pipistrelle, so I can draw out the kind of what it sort of looks like.
Oh no, they're dead.
Oh my God, no.
They're gone. By the way, I love the beetle you drew. It's perfect.
It's really cool.
It looks really derpy, and I kind of love it.
But it's perfect.
So,
I'm gonna add some
we'll say...
now that I'm here.
Oh yeah?
Mm-hmm. No, I'm just saying that I'm here. I'm just gonna add some smoke to it. I know there's not necessarily smoke, but I feel like it needs it.
I love the smoke. To me, it doesn't look like it's coming out of the horn. It comes out the side of the horn, which I think is great because it's completely broken.
Yeah. It's just the whole thing is just kind of gently steaming.
So we'll say that this is the embankment here, and that this sort of larger wiggly area in the middle is the mud.
Okay.
So we have a delightful Pipistrelle. Oh, whoops. No skin.
Oh no, Pip, what happened?
Oh no. Oh no.
Nope.
Could be dead.
Nope. Oh god.
Broken.
I'm gonna undo all of the things I moved. And then nope. This is wrong.
Oh, there we go. There she is.
Okay. And then I'm gonna group select. Can I group it? Oh. No, hang on. If I right click. Advanced group. And then no.
We're all professionals here.
We're all professionals here.
I'm trying so hard.
I feel like I need to add. I should have been doing this.
Oh, now it's grouped. Perfect.
Yay!
Cool.
Oh
so we have a Pipistrelle, and you are sort of on the embankment here, and you're looking down at Lutzen, who is sort of here-ish, who is just stuck in the middle of this mud.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I already like him a lot.
And Lutzen, you are facing over this way, rather oblivious that possibly some aid has come to help you.
Yeah. I think I'm just kind of like not frantically, but just kind of gently wiggling a little bit and just trying to like, yeah, just kind of be.
Just enjoy the mud.
He's just like he's stuck here, but he's like he's fine.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't
Currently
the
the
first time
mud
this has
is
happened.
a little bit warm from the sun, so you're like, well, I guess if I'm stuck here.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think there's much he really could do, to be honest. So I think I'm kind of just stuck and waiting.
I feel like this is, you know, Pip would kind of, if Pip has sort of seen this sort of this strange rat, kind of waist deep in mud, I think, but also like not seemingly looking particularly scared or, at odds with anything. I think she wouldn't yell out immediately. I think she's gonna just stop and watch for a minute to see if he actually does need her help.
Oh, and Fraser, could you describe what Lutzen looks like?
Oh, absolutely. So Rutson is a kind of brown rat. He has got little pink ears and little pink nose, but he has these little goggles across his face with kind of these little kind of blue tinted lenses. He's wearing what you would be able to see once he's kind of out of the mud is little kind of rat dungarees, but they're held up with like a little button in the front, and there's like thread tied through the button that like holds them up.
Oh.
And he's got like a little chestnut backpack, like the kind of spiked shell of the chestnuts on his back. And he has like a little earring, a little kind of gold earring through one of his ears. And yeah, that's him. He's a bit of a state. He's a bit frazzled. He's definitely not got as many whiskers as he should.
Oh.
There's little patches of his skin that are like a kind of bit matted and maybe a little bit burnt and like clumped together from like oil. And yeah, he's a little bit of a klutz.
Yeah.
I love
That's him.
him already.
He's a good boy. He's a good boy.
I like that he also has an earring, because Pip, it's not that I ever really get to see it in like the Roll20 doodles that I do of her, but Pip also does have an earring.
Yes.
On
Earring
the-
squad.
Oh yeah, and like in the ear that she has a little nick out of.
Oh yeah, he's definitely like there's little chunks missing out of his ear, and like all his whiskers are all crooked and like
Oh.
like you know if you ever like burned a hair or something and it's like kind of weird at the end and all kind of gnarled up. It's like that.
But just like everywhere.
Yeah, just like all over.
Oh.
It's like a half baked. Yes, that's him. That's my little Watson face.
I'm going to group it, and then I'm going to see if I can move it all at once. Nope, that's not doing it.
Nope. Okay.
We'll just let it sit for a bit.
Yeah, let him chill out there for a little sec. But I don't know what Lutson is doing. I think is there any way he could try and like... There's nothing he could... Oh, actually, you know what? He'd still be able to access a bit of like the kind of rope or like kind of stuff that he has in his pouch, I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of bag of fixings. Would he be able to kind of get something to try and like hook forward and drag himself through the mud a little bit?
You could definitely try. What sort of tools are you using for the job?
That's a very good question. He has a bag of fixings, so I imagine he has some kind of like bits of wire or kind of bits of rope or kind of what the equivalent of hempen rope would be, I guess. Like,
well, I thought the bag of fixings was more like screws and gears and washers and bits of mechanical bits that you'd use here and there.
I forget he has the stripped ivy.
I am gonna pull up your character sheet on Roll20, our delicious, wonderful sponsors.
Yeah, he's got that stripped ivy, like the kind of ivy rope, which he might try and use if it was easily accessible.
So I'm gonna say that like your backpack is half submerged in the mud. It's gonna be a vigor check to try and get into it.
That's very fair. Let's give it a go. First roll. Oh god.
Oh no!
3.
Are we
which is a
surprised?
complication. You barely managed to pull it off, but not without consequence. Now it describes how the situation becomes more complicated. You open your bag and pull out the rope and go, aha! And then watch mud into the bag, and it just gets sucked under.
Oh my god.
The whole bag?
The whole bag is now sucked under into the mud.
Oh shoot.
So you have your rope in hand.
Yeah. Can I dive another arm like in to try and grab part of the bag to like save it?
Yeah, sure. You stick your arm under the mud, and now have one arm underneath the surface of the mud. You've sunk a little bit lower from the movement. You have one arm above with your rope, the other arm underneath, holding onto what you presume is your bag.
I'm just gonna start kind of like waving the rope and trying to like not necessarily. Well, yeah, I'm gonna try and get to like lasso it, even though it's not really tied and I can't tie it now because I've got a hand in the mud.
You're gonna try and lasso it. What are you lassoing it onto? Describe what the.
Well, is there anything nearby, like a rock that's protruding out, or like?
Yeah, let's say there's a rock on the other side of the mud. Here, I'll draw it in.
Okay.
There's like a rock here.
Oh god, that's so far.
That you're trying to like throw the rope towards.
That's quite far.
I'd say make a cunning check for me to see if you can sort of figure out how to lasso and use this tool effectively.
Okay. Can I tag my oh god, how did I do this? My outlandish solutions.
Yes.
Oh.
So that's one of your. I think it's one of your skills is that you have plans that shouldn't work and that somehow do work but won't work a second time.
Yes. Yeah, I would like to try that.
So you can do a cunning roll and you can tag that, sure.
So is that an advantage? I just press the button twice?
Yeah, so you press the button twice and we'll take the better roll.
Oh. Well, I'm glad I did that.
So you rolled a 1 and a 7. A hijinks and a success. So we'll take the success. You do as well as you can. The narrative describes how successful you are. You manage to kind of start to kind of spin the rope. I'm not sure how a lasso works, I'll be honest. But you throw the rope as far as you can, and it manages to sort of wrap a little bit around the rock, and you kind of pull it, and it somehow has kind of, we'll say it's just naturally landed in some kind of like very loose knot. And so you're able to pull it, and it kind of tightens a bit. So it has some kind of hold on the rock. It shouldn't have worked, but it has. And so you have a sort of, are able to kind of pull a little bit on the rope.
Okay. I guess I'm just going to try and like pull myself like just forward so I'm kind of more like flat on my belly.
Okay. That would be a vigor check for me. And while this is all happening, Pipistrelle is just on the edge of this dried up or semi-dried river, watching this rat be slowly consumed by mud.
I think I think having watched this rat like lasso a rock and like is kind of attempting to pull himself out of the mud. I don't think Pip really like wants to like yell and distract him. She's just gonna be like, I'll just wait until he's out. If he doesn't get out though, I guess I'll have to go in. She's kind of waiting to see what happens before she actually acts.
Okay. So you wait with bated breath. Fraser, could you make a vigor check for me? For Lutz?
I did. It was a 2.
Oh, you barely managed to pull it off, but not without consequence. The narrator describes how the situation becomes more complicated.
Yay.
So you begin to pull on the rock, and you manage to get yourself flat onto the mud. Pipistrelle, you see like this very muddy like silhouette just out of the mud. The backpack dragged behind it. It is like dungareed rat. Tail flops out of the mud, except as opposed to being, bright colours and lovely clothing, it's all just brown.
Oh no.
And Lutson, as you're pulling on the rope, you're like, aha, I've gotten free. And then you feel the rope go slack, and the rock just starts to into the mud.
Jesus.
You've pulled the rock loose, and now the rock is very slowly sinking into this mud.
Oh god.
But you are flat on this gooey, muddy surface.
Okay, that's good. Is the rock... Obviously, there's not like a ripple, it's mud. But
yeah. Well, there's like a little... as it kind of like flops onto the mud, and then maybe it spatters a little bit, but it's not like... Yeah, so we'll say it's sort of like here-ish.
So there's not a tidal wave of mud coming for me.
No.
Is there any sort of like displacement that kind of gives me a little edge on getting out? No, not at all.
Not really.
I'm really grasping
you are on
here.
Now you're flat on your front, in the mud, though.
Okay, that's fine. Can I use my kind of just to kind of crawl along the top of the mud and use my dexterous tail to kind of like even it out, just kind of wagging it side to side, I guess?
Like turn yourself into one giant snowshoe.
Yeah, I just want to kind of like I don't know how to describe it. Like pond skater, just kind of scurry across the floor, like arms outstretched, all limbs just like a pancake.
So I would say you're at disadvantage because you're dragging your bag through the mud. You get advantage because you're tagging your dexterous tail, so it's just going to be a straight cunning roll.
Oh man, okay. Oh!
Oh, hooray.
Ooh, that was a 7, a success. So you do as well as you can, and then I have to scrap success for that. I'm going to say that you managed to, like, slop and slurp your way through this muddy slurry towards the rock, and you managed to make it out of this kind of... Oh, I just scribbled you out. Lutsen is
deleted.
You managed to make your way to the other side of the river.
Pip throws a rock to help.
You get out to this rock, which is very slowly sinking into the mud, and manage to, I'm going to say, scurry up onto it onto like solid surface.
Okay, is it still sinking?
Very slowly.
Okay, that's fine. I guess he'll kind of scamper on top of it and just kind of be like, huzzah! And then would he spot Pip on the horizon of the bank?
You're like, hooray! And you turn around and there is this bat looking very worriedly at you. Pipistrelle, for the benefit of our lovely Lutsen and our audience, just describe quickly what Pipistrelle looks like right now.
Pipistrelle right now is currently in her sort of messenger attire, so she's wearing a green flight suit, and over the top of that green flight suit, which goes all the way up to her neck, so it kind of covers all her fuzz. She's wearing a little green tunic with an oak leaf. She has got a light brown face and has sort of darker brown wings. She's got a nick out of her right ear and an earring. Bright, inquisitive, quite large yellow eyes, which right now are big and wide and worried looking. She has also got her messenger bag over her back, so she's like a sort of big leaf-shaped bag on her back, which is quite thin, but very efficiently packed.
That's really cute.
It's my little girl.
So now there's a pause where you realise that this very muddy rat is now looking at you.
Yes.
He'll start kind of waving and
I think Lutsen, you can't see out of your goggles. So you take them off, and now they're just like, you've got mud all over your face and two like mud-free goggle-shaped like holes, like a mask on your face. When you've taken them off, he's like, oh, you can now see. And you're like, oh, hi.
I think he'd try and like wipe them on his like, if there's fur or his trousers, but obviously they're covered in mud as well, so it's just going to smear more into it.
You're just smearing mud on mud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mud on mud on mud.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there's not really much of a solution here.
Oh, he's trying though.
But rats aren't nocturnal or anything, or like bad eyesight, so I think he could probably see Pip and would kind of be
he could definitely see Pip. Like, you don't need the goggles to see, it's more for when you're riding in the beetle.
Yes, for sure.
So they're like flight goggles, like those like aviation mask goggles.
Yes.
I see.
Or driving goggles, I guess.
Driving goggles. Okay, sorry, because I misunderstood. I thought they were like glasses.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay,
they're kind of like Mr. Toad. No, is it Mr. Toad?
Yeah, it is Mr. Toad.
Wind in the Willows? Yeah, when he's got kind of like that kind of vibe.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah, got it.
Nice.
That's really cute. Yeah, I think I don't know if Pip would say anything yet, but I think she'd sort of, with her, because she's a bat, she's got quite long arms, so she kind of like raise an arm and like wave, and she just like kind of see what this rat would do. I think she's trying to decide whether or not this is the rat that she has been like waiting for and looking for.
That's fair. I guess he'll kind of wave back and be like, "Hello, friend."
With a kind of hearty greeting, I think she relaxes a little bit. She doesn't look quite as worried. And she's like, she'll sort of reply saying, do you need any more help? It looks like you were in quite a predicament just there.
Well, I managed to get out of it myself, but if you are adept enough of a flyer that you could maybe come and pick me up, or just to. My beetle's not around, but maybe it would be able to get me if it could do it by itself. Maybe I should try that. Maybe I wonder if I could get that to work. And you see him kind of like look off into the distance and start thinking about like how to make the beetle sentient. I guess I don't know.
There's like a thought bubble in your head where you're like, can I put, like the pedalo like wheels?
Yes.
On my beetle so that it could swim through mud.
That's
Yeah.
adorable.
He's completely forgetting that he's like slowly sinking.
I think sort of Pip again sort of starts looking a bit confused. But if he said the word beetle out loud, I think she would just say, "Wait a minute, are you Ludson?"
Yes, that's my name. Ludson Ten Whiskers.
Oh.
You notice he has significantly less than 10 whiskers.
Oh my god.
There used to be 10. Maybe there's now. And he kind of looks like at his nose and just tries to count them, but...
You notice, as you kind of look past your nose, one whiskers forlornly like into the mud.
Oh my god.
Oh my
Just
God.
sink in, and then it's gone.
Oh god. I think Pip is like taken aback at the kind of like, oh okay, this is who I've been looking for. Good, I guess. I think, but she's sort of shakes herself sort of out of that little moment of reverence and is like, oh, okay, well, can I ask why you're here of all places when your beetle is back in that clearing out in the meadows?
Well, you see, I was looking for some things to help fix my beetle, and I found some little bits and bobs and some flowers and some grass and things, and I started following the trail, and then, and I saw some rope. I need to go back and get that rope. And then there was another flower, but that wasn't the right flower. So, I think I got distracted, but I'm not too sure.
I'm not sure. I think I understand that. Pip kind of grabs at one of the like nuts and bolts that she's holding like in one arm and like sort of holds it up and is like, "Is this yours? Or are these yours?"
Oh, I've got ones that look exactly like that.
Wait, so these don't belong to you?
I think like they do. They definitely do.
I think
good,
Lutzen
okay.
thinks that someone else has dropped them in the forest, and
Oh my
it's just
God.
good fortune.
Yeah.
But like in the audience sense, like the narrator leans in and says they were indeed Lutzens.
Yeah. It's very much that. There's like a hole in the side of his little like pouch where like things he puts in
Oh
it just
my
falls back
God.
out. So he'll quite often just get caught like circling himself, picking up the things he's just dropped.
Oh my god, I absolutely love him. I think, so Pip was sort of holding up these, saying, "Well, I imagine that these are probably yours. I don't think I have met any other rats who might carry things like this around. I think maybe, perhaps you dropped them somewhere and didn't realize."
He will kind of like look in his pouch and see that they're not there and like, oh yes, it seems that maybe yes, it seems that they are mine. Thank you very much for finding them. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. They're still kind of at opposite sides of this big mud bank.
Yeah.
I think Pip would sort of look at the mud and like the rock and the rope and everything. We're like, seems we may have a slight predicament. We should probably get you back to your beetle. I'm just not sure how to get you over this mud.
Yes, it does appear that I am also sinking still, which is not
Oh my God.
ideal.
You
still
look
thinking?
down and you feel not your feet but your tail like touch the lukewarm mud, which is no longer being heated by the sun. You kind of it's drooped down the rock, and the rock is like very very slowly like.
Yeah, I think he'd kind of jump a little bit at like, not in fright, but he'd just kind of start and like whip his tail back up, like out the way and like kind of not hugging it, but it would kind of.
It flicks some mud out onto the middle of the river where it like.
Yeah. Is my rope still in hand? Is it like, what's the situation for that?
So you are holding the rope, and it then trails out into the mud, sort of like this. I'll draw it. It kind of trails out to where you were, and then stops and is sunk into the mud, and then you see that there is still a little bit tied around the rock here. So it's sort of like looped underneath the mud, if this is like the mud.
Oh no.
If that makes sense, like this.
All right. Okay.
God,
Yeah.
okay.
Is there a way that I'd be able to try and reel it back in? Because I'm like, I really don't need to lose this again. And we'll try and like.
So you
reel
start
it
to
back in
reel
quickly.
the now very muddy kind of woven rope back towards yourself, and you do have your rope again.
Okay, good. I don't want to lose that. Spent far too long looking for that in the first place. I don't know. I guess you'll kind of call it like. I don't suppose you have an ingenious plan to rescue me, do you?
Pip kind of like her ears sort of droop a little bit. So I can certainly try to think of something.
That sounds like a plan. I will also try the same thing and think as hard as I can.
Is there anything around that I could use? Like, are there any like loose sticks that have like fallen out of the tree that I could use to maybe, like a really long stick that I could use to maybe help Ludson get out of the mud?
I'd say that'd be a cunning roll to try and look for some branches of the right size that you could drag to make some kind of makeshift bridge.
Just for for clarification, how wide is the gap roughly?
I'd say it's maybe 3 or 4 rat's lengths.
Okay, that's fine then.
So it's not huge. That's where the mud is, if that makes sense. Well, like the mud is deepest that you could sink into it and then maybe not come back out. And then it's much more shallower at either side of these edges, and then like the kind of the scribbly bits, like these banks here where Pipistrelle is. That's where like the ground is solid again.
Right.
So you rolled a 3, a complication. You barely managed to pull it off, but not without consequence. The narrator describes how the situation becomes more complicated. You turn to Lutz and say, "Oh, I'll just be right back." And then you start grabbing some branches and dragging them over. And Lutzen, as you are watching Pipistrelle do this, the rock sinks a little bit lower. You're feeling a little more aware of your position and what's going on. And you look to Pipistrelle and then look up, and you notice a small black shape in the trees. And you squint a little bit and wipe some of the mud out of your eyes. And you're pretty sure that a few trees away there's a crow.
Oh God!
At you.
I don't think Lutzen would be. No, he's not like stupid, but he also doesn't have like the wisdom to be like, that's a threat.
You've grown up in big cities where crows don't tend to eat people.
Yeah, they're like. I'm imagining them like a mob boss. Like you don't want to mess with them, but like they're not just gonna outright like get you. I think he will kind of like acknowledge it, but I don't know. I don't know what he would really do. I think he would just kind of squint it and spot it and be like, that's a crow, and that's kind of it.
Oh Lord.
Maybe he just doesn't ignore. He just doesn't say anything. Oh, it's a crow. Oh well.
Yeah.
What?
Like, it'd be great if you could help. Or would he call out? I don't want to sabotage it, but I feel like he might like be like, "Can anyone give me a hand?"
Oh God, this is just like being Balthazar.
Are you gonna call out to the crow?
Or no, I know what he'd say. He would call out and be like, "Don't worry, little bat. I think I found someone who can help," and we'll call out.
God.
So what do you yell out to the crow?
Hello, large winged friend. Any chance you could give me a lift?
And Pipistrelle, you look confused and turn around, and you see the crow, and it's hopping between some branches, and then it glides to another branch that's much closer, maybe in a tree that's like adjacent to you and the river, or the dried up river. You've assembled enough branches to make a bridge now, but you haven't actually put them into the mud or done anything with them. And the crow kind of looks down its long black beak, and says, "Oh, hello. This does seem to be a bit of a predicament, doesn't it?"
Oh, who is the crow addressing right now? Is he addressing me or Ludson?
It's quite big. It could be either or both of you.
I think Pip's instinct here would. Oh God, I think she'd probably say to the crow is like, and she's wary because obviously she's met a crow before, and they barely got away from that particular crow without being eaten. I think she would probably say is like, it's really, don't worry about it at all. I have this perfectly under control. I'm going to construct my friend here a bridge, and we will be on our way. So please don't feel like you have to stay on our account. Really, we'll be completely fine. And she smiles and she bows and she's trying to be very polite while also kind of rapidly grabbing all these branches to go back to Ludson to try and get him out of the mud.
The crow kind of looks at you and says, well, I don't understand why you don't just fly over there and help him out.
She kind of pauses and says, "Oh, well, I've had a long day, and I'm quite tired. I don't think I could potentially have the strength just now to help this rat. So I'm going to do the next best thing and use all these sticks so he can get himself out of the mud."
And the crow remains on its branch, looking at you and says, "Well, this should be fun. Go on then."
Well, I will. I absolutely will.
You feel, Lutzen, the rock that you're standing on has now submerged into the mud. You're standing on it, but your feet are now in the mud again.
Oh, God.
Okay, with that, I'll call out, be like, friends, it seems that my feet are getting a little bit wet again, and I really don't want to get stuck again. I've got lots of things I need to be doing.
Pip is sort of just now starts like doesn't say anything, but she'll start like trying to assemble these branches into like a plank bridge that she can sort of drop over towards Ludson, I suppose.
Okay,
in any way that she can.
I'm gonna say that's gonna be a vigor check for me to physically like lift up and move these branches.
Okay. Oh no! Oh no!
So that is a complication. Do you want to get into a difficult situation, or do you want to lose an item?
Oh, I don't know. I don't want to lose any items because, like, if I lost my my map, or my bandages, or my poultice, or my nettle dust, like that's
that's a great idea. If you lose your map, I can just delete it.
I know, but like I need the map. Oh God. Okay. I'm gonna say difficult situation because I want to keep things interesting, I guess.
So you're gonna get yourself into a difficult situation. You are putting out the branches, and you're lifting them up and then pushing them over, sort of like a caber, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And they flop and flop, and they start to construct a sort of a rough, supported bridge where they flop into the mud, but they have enough of a surface area to them that they kind of don't necessarily float, but don't sink all the way in. And you get over to here. You push the branch over the mud, and then start to feel, because I'm going to say that you have to kind of start standing on them at some point to get far enough over. You're standing here, and you start to feel the branch slowly sink into the mud, and you stumble back a little bit to get out of it, and then flop into the mud yourself.
Oh God!
Oh no!
And you are now spread bat, I guess, not spread eagle, on the mud.
Oh God!
Wings out,
no.
and it's cool and gross, and you feel it getting all up in your fur.
Ick.
Oh, that's not ideal.
God.
And you hear a sort of a that was well done, good job, from the crow.
I don't like this crow. He's rude.
I think Lotzen would hear that and would say, yes, it was it's rather ingenious. I'm surprised it worked.
Aww.
The bridge.
Oh my God, he's so sweet.
If he had notes, he'd start taking notes, but obviously time is pressing.
Aww.
I feel like, is he able to kind of jump over onto the bridge? Like, is there enough of a gap that I could try and not sprint, but just
like you could pounce like that? There's enough that you could pounce onto the sort of the makeshift bridge from your rock,
and scurry onto it. Yeah, I would like to try that or do that.
Okay. I'm gonna see if I can just move all of you at once. I can. Yeah. This is amazing.
Okay, good.
Everyone should use Roll20 because you can scribble on it, and then you can group them, and then you can move all the scribbles at once. You jump onto the bridge here, and are able to sort of, if you move quickly, not sink into the mud.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll do that and run across, and then you said that the shallow banks are they shallow enough to stand in? Would I be able to know
they're
that,
shallow enough to
or-
stand in. So you could get to the other side to here, and then you're
Yeah.
like ankle deep in mud, but you're not like gonna sink
going
any
any further. Okay, that's fine. That's good. So with that, I would then kind of turn around to Pip. Well, I don't actually know Pip's name,
Yeah.
but
You turn to the mysterious bat.
the mysterious bat, and we'd be like, "Oh, friend, you've done what? I was just in a situation like that recently." And he will like take out the rope again to try and like like throw it out to you to catch,
Oh.
to try and like pull you in a little bit.
Oh god, I think Pip would definitely like. She would kind of like. There would be a moment where she'd be like, "Oh, you know," when Ludson says like, "Oh, I was just in a situation like that," and she'd be like, "Yeah, I know." in her mind, she wouldn't say that, but that would kind of read on her face. But yeah, like she would definitely take the rope and try and like, you know, try and let Ludson like get her out of the mud.
I'm gonna say, like, you can easily haul this bat out of the mud. I think, like, the complication from this is now that both of you are covered pretty much head to toe in mud.
Ugh, yuck.
Mm-hmm.
But you're able to make your way back onto the bank here.
Nice.
Like, oh, well, that was a fantastic experience. I'll have to take notes when I find my. Oh, I've lost my notebook. Oh no.
Oh. I think Pip would sort of try and like scrape the mud off her back from where she fell in. And was like, yes, that was certainly very enlightening.
And the crow above says, yes, that was enlightening for me too. I'll be off then. And he sort of just swoops off, chuckling to himself at these strange beasts, swallowing around in the mud like pigs.
Yeah. Well, he was rather unhelpful, but friendly nonetheless.
Well, the last time I met a crow, he was distinctly more dangerous than that carefree soul. So I suppose one should not judge. But here we are.
This is very true. This is very true. Anyway, I must go and find my beetle. But thank you for helping.
Oh, it was nothing. Here, she holds out probably what was quite a muddy hand out at this point, and says, like, "I'm Pip, Pipistrelle, messenger of
Oh,
Odin."
pleasure to meet you. Pleasure to meet you. I'm Lutzen, and we'll kind of shake a muddy paw back at you.
Oh, that's really cute.
There is a very uncomfortable squelch of mud.
Nice.
Yuck.
I think after the sort of slightly shaking the mud off her hand, Pip would be like, you know, Ludson, I could always take you back to your beetle if you like. I have been told to come and search for you, actually.
Oh, fantastic! You've seen my beetle. Yeah, brilliant, excellent. Let's go right along then.
Yeah, I think definitely we sort of want to get out of this forest before any more wisecracking crows come by.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
you'll likewise try and shake some of the mud off as well a little bit.
So, I think we're going to end today's episode there. A short bit of muddy fun. We're going to have a little review of the scene. So, I'm moving out Balthi's reflection so we can put in Lutzon's.
Oh my!
We'll start with Pipistrelle. Your fortune today was alone, mired and alone, I think it was. Which was the theme of sacrifice, which is greed and charity.
Oops.
The vice and virtue of charity. So, the question is, do you think that you acted with vice or with virtue?
Ooh.
Do you think you were greedy in today's scene, or do you think you were charitable?
I suppose in some ways, maybe you could say that Pip was trying to be charitable. You know, she finds this rat in a bog, and you know, she takes a moment to decide, like, because he looks like he can get himself out of it. But then as soon as she realizes that, like, oh, okay, no, he definitely needs help. She does, and she will. She concocts definitely maybe not the most well formulated plan, but something to help him get out of it. But she doesn't accept help from the crow, and she definitely could have. She definitely could have held herself to a better standard and not sort of just assuming that the crow was going to be mean and try to eat them.
Yeah, the keywords for greed are covet, eagerness, keep, miserly, own, take, withhold, and then charity is aid, attend, cooperate, donate, explain, grant, share, and support. So I think you were pretty charitable today.
Yeah, I think I think you could kind of maybe sway them either way, but I think definitely what Pip was trying to do was go out of her way to help Ludson out of the mud. Yes, you could maybe say that she was being a little bit greedy by not helping, not asking the crow for help, but she did it because the last time she met a crow, the crow tried to eat them, and she had to talk her way out of it. In a little bat panic, she was like, "Okay, I need to help this rat. There's a crow nearby, and I'm scared." But yeah, I would say that I think maybe I might have shifted into, because if I'm neutral at the moment, I may have shifted into virtue this session.
Okay, I'm gonna pop you in for a virtue.
A virtue.
And the rules for, I was calling it Mortal Bearings before, but I think just Vice and Virtue is a stronger name.
Mm-hmm.
Like this sort of like fortune-telling little system we got trialing out here. I did this in the interlude with Ver, but I think you just get the benefits after each scene. You don't have to reinforce, you just get the benefits. So you just get an auto success or auto failure for another creature.
Yay! Helpful.
Because that means for more fun storytelling.
Yes. Oh, I'm excited. Oh, that's really fun.
And,
cool.
Dearest Lutzen, how did you think you acted in this scene?
Yes.
So the keywords for charity are aid, attend, cooperate, donate, explain, grant, share, and support. And then greed is covet, eagerness, keep, materialistic, miserly, own, take, withhold. Vice, in general, as a mood, as a vibe, is in the moment, is immediate, is it's all about kind of instantaneous results and not thinking about the future. It's about living in the moment. While virtue is about taking a step back from the situation and thinking about the consequences, thinking about the overall aspects. In between the two of vice and virtue, you have neutrality, which is about balancing both of these approaches.
Okay. I would say describing virtue is nothing like Lutzen whatsoever. So he lives very much in the moment because he can't remember the last 3 moments that he just had. So I think it is very much vice for his case, I believe.
Yeah. I think he was very eager, and I think materialistic is a word. Like, he would lose something and then immediately try and get something, and then by getting something, he'd lose something else, and then...
Absolutely. Yeah, it kind of describes him kind of perfectly in all of the facets of his character. So yeah, I think definitely vice.
Vice is the opposite of virtue, so you get an auto self-success. So you can immediately on any roll, any check, just decide that you have got a success. Not a critical success, but just a regular success, no matter what you roll.
Cool. Okay. I like it. That kind of works with his things that happen that work but shouldn't.
Yeah, it fits that vibe of like beginner's luck.
Absolutely. And I feel like that could be, if you wanted to try something else again, it happened second time, but lightning has only ever struck once. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Okay then. Well, we will return next week, which will be a day. This is pre-recorded because I'm going on holiday from the 17th, so we're getting some episodes recorded on today, the 14th of September of 2020, the year of our Lord, so that you guys can be entertained while I am out in a hill, probably falling into a similar mud trap.
Hell yeah.
And my dad just shaking his head and just being like, Ryan.
I hope that the crow that helps you is slightly more useful than the one that we encountered.
Definitely.
Well, the crow was gonna, he just was there for the lols, but he was gonna, offer, like, what's it worth to me for helping you out? But you seem to have a handle on it, so...
Fair enough.
He was just there for giggles, and I'm very upset about that.
I think
Oh.
Schadenfreude is his mood. That's his. He's not
yeah.
vice or virtue. He's Schadenfreude.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay. Well, I think we should reintroduce ourselves, and then we will say adieu. I was Brian. I am still Brian. I will probably continue to be Brian. I use he, him pronouns. I run Dungeons on a Dime, which is a publishing imprint focusing on uplifting young and entry-level creatives through entry-level role-playing products. I wrote the rule system Adventures on a Dime, which you can find entirely for free at my website, doad.co.uk, and also in its entirety on Roll20. And I have worked with Atlanta and Fraser on some delicious role-playing system-neutral projects, like my book In the Red, which is out, and you should buy it, and it's great. It's also on my website. Digital PDF, physical book, it's fancy, 48 pages, everything you need to start your kind of game mastering journey. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
I also have
yeah.
a Patreon, which I always forget to mention, which Fraser and I are doing some cool little minis and maps and adventures for October.
We are
Which will be
indeed.
cool.
We are indeed.
Yeah, so that's me. Atlanta, could you please reintroduce yourself?
Hello, I have and will continue to be probably Atlanta, also known as Alpaca Scribbles. You can find me at Alpaca Scribbles on Twitter, at alpaca_scribbles on Instagram, and at Alpaca Scribbles on Patreon, where I am posting just lots of doodles and things, a lot of Beast Fables stuff. Any kind of behind the scenes doodles usually end up on there, like thumbnail ideas and just general session sketches. I have no general work right now. Obviously, we're still in sort of COVID hell, so there is no conventions. So I'm gonna be a little bit cheeky and sort of plug myself and say, hey, I do take commissions, and it would be great because I would love to be able to pay my bills.
We'll make art for food.
We'll draw for food, please. But yeah, it's really lovely to be back in Beast Fables. Fraser, it's lovely to have you here too, as a guest / new player as well. It's really fun. And Brian, again, thank you for another wonderful session. Thank you for taking care of my little Pip during all of this. I've missed her.
Well, it's really glad to have you back. And speaking of back, now that Fraser has escaped the mud, could you please reintroduce yourself?
Sure. I have been Fraser. I probably will still continue to be Fraser with the rest of us. But will I always be forever? Who knows? It's always a question up in the air. I go by he him pronouns, and I've been playing Lutzen, and I go by Lostastronaut on Instagram and Twitter. I'm also an illustrator and do freelance work and things, but I'm rather busy at the mo. But check out my work and have a wee nosy at things. And I just want to thank you both for welcoming me with open arms, wings, paws, and such into the Beast Fable world, and I'm very excited to play it more.
Yay!
Yay! I just, honestly, stray thought, I just wondered, do birds have legs or claws?
Ooh.
Like,
Do birds have
what?
legs or claws?
Like, would you call what they have claws? Would it be feet? Would it be...
I think, well, they have legs, but
It's
it's
like
it's claws
they're
over feet.
Yeah, sort of. It'd be more like. I suppose.
Yeah,
I
would
suppose
they
depending on the
would they
type of bird,
welcome
it'd be
you
like
with
a talent.
open legs or open wings?
Open
Oh, not
leg.
open legs. Not open legs, Brian.
Open
The
wings.
opposite.
Open wings.
Open wings.
Open
An open claws sounds like a threat. That's definitely sounds like welcoming you with open claws sounds like I'm gonna get you. Anyway.
Absolutely.
Well,
We
more about
digress.
Chipper later. I will catch everybody later on, and I hope you guys have a fantastic week whenever this episode comes out, because it's pre-recorded. Hooray! Goodbye for now.
Bye bye.
Bye.